Are you a teacher wanting to leave the classroom and considering doing tutoring full time? You have it on the side and it's been really fruitful and great. So my name is Rebecca Beard and I own a local tutoring company. I have actually done that, and today's video is going to be kind of like your how-to launch on your own, and also why a lot of people fail independent tutoring. And here's some of the fallacies I see. So the big question at first is, why listen to me? So I've said my name. I own a local tutoring company that is quickly expanding. I have about 45 tutors on staff, and we are looking to push 50, and we are about to onboard officially, hopefully soon, 2 online tutors. We cover grades from pre-K through college, and we also work with children with special needs, which is a big passion project of mine. I am a licensed teacher. I spent about 5 years in the classroom. I also spent about 2 years actually teaching as an education coordinator in a mental health hospital, which gave me a lot of the skills to tutor. I've also tutored since I was fresh out of college, and I know I may look like I just got out of college, but I'm in my 30s. I have 3 kids. And it's been my full-time income for well over a year now. Okay, so there is my spiel, but why does this matter? This matters because we have a lot of teachers who are feeling the burnout, feeling tired, and I meet with a lot of those teachers, in all honesty, like owning a tutoring company, who really want to step out full-time, but they always fall into kind of a couple of traps. And I'm going to go over a few of these and kind of go over why they fail. So one of the big traps is that marketing is really, really easy. A lot of people realize that if they're going to tutor full time, they need to replace their income if that's what their family needs, which is really doable, but it takes a while to actually build up clients, and even from a now established local company. So what we have to do to build up people's clientele, it can take 3 to 6 months to get them close to full-time hours, and that's with paid marketing, overhead. I have a salesperson, all of that. So one of the key things that most teachers don't realize is they want to make the shift really fast, but you really have to low and slow go to build up clients. And you need to have like a marketing plan. Dropping off flyers at your local library is not going to help. Dropping off flyers at your school can get you in trouble if you don't have prior permission. And there's a lot of other things that can get you in trouble. You've got to go do it right, and you've got to do it steady, and sometimes a little bit slow. So a lot of people just give up really quickly because they're not persistent and they need to replace their full-time income right away. That's great. But one thing that you can actually do is keep your teaching job for a while. Please don't break contract hours. Don't do things you're not supposed to, but see clients after school. I was teaching when I launched, also have 3 children, that when I launched my tutoring business, I had still 2 in diapers, if that puts it in any context. So it is possible, but you have to plan on the long game. And number 2, while most teachers fail, is they are not solid in pricing. And we see this a lot. Is when I started out just like tutoring myself, and I've done over the years, I was very much like I felt a little bit like a sliding scale, and I've gotten a lot better at that. It's like, I take in like hardship into consideration. I take into like pay fluctuations. I was just way too graceful with my prices, and not in an uncaring way, but we have to be on it and be advocating for ourselves. Is teachers do 2 things. One, they don't charge, which I've hired a few teachers that ran into that problem a lot, or they don't charge enough. Well, I guess option number 3 is that they don't follow through with payment. And so that would be 3. So all of those kind of go into the price, but the way you have to do it is you have to start out high. And then on top of that, you need to be consistent and firm and not bend. Now, the things that we bend on is we try to do military discounts, we try to do sales and promotion to buy in bulk. That's always a good way. But if you're getting told like your prices are too high after you've done the market research that's appropriate, and you are matching what's competitive in the area, is that just client might not be a good fit for you. Because typically the clients that are going to be around for a while are comfortable with the prices and they are able and willing to pay them. It's not always the number that actually matters, but it is more of the investment they see. So sometimes people are not willing to pay that price because they don't see it as a worthwhile investment, versus if you sell it really well and tie it up with a pretty bow, then they're more willing to pay those prices. I also see teachers charge way too low. They're like, hey, my hourly rate, and it varies across the nation, of course, and I'm in the US and Florida, is like, let's say $29 an hour. And let's even go more comfortable, it's $40 an hour. So a lot of teachers are like, yeah, I can do this for $40 an hour. Well, that's great, but you've got to factor in a few things. One, you've got to do taxes. I'm always setting out a large side for my taxes. And then you've got to buy supplies, you've got resources, you've got planning time, all of that stuff. And in the end, that $40 an hour is unsustainable. Some people do it as like extra side money, and then that's fine. But at the long term, like $40 an hour, it won't work, and you're going to feel burnt out really fast and also not be able to replace your income. The third trap that I see people be is let pay slide. When people are like, oh, I'll pay you back later and all that stuff, is you just got to be really firm. We see that more on the organization end now that we have so many tutors, and I have my salesperson and my billing person help a lot with chasing down invoices. But if you're not collecting the invoices, that seems like common sense, or just waiting until payday, it's just going to backfire. And then you're going to be bitter to the client and maybe the child, and you just don't want that. That's just kind of bad nature. The other kind of factor that I see like teachers falling into, that maybe they want to start a business, is not viewing it as a business. And that sounds really dumb and cheesy, but you have to view this as a business. You got to sell yourself. You got to sell what you are good at, why you're good at it, and like what it's worth. So you got to price yourself well, but you also have to sell yourself, and not in a cheesy way. Posting on Facebook randomly does not count, but I'm talking the real things. I'm talking about making a website, having testimonials, which you can do, by the way, for tutoring for free and get some testimonials, because those are worth more than gold. Or just not understanding marketing. So for us, our cost average per client, which could be really fascinating. We had a really good one last week, which was about $15 per client. And that is like gold. That's after website build it, SEO, thousands and thousands of dollars of ads training that I have invested to learn. And that's in Google Ads. And then Meta's gotten really expensive. So you're going to be paying either $25 to $50 per client. Now you can build up things through word of mouth, but that is still a low and slow approach. So with marketing, either you've got to invest money or you've got to get really serious and not spammy. And that's going to be kind of a big deal. You've got to show people like why to purchase the product and going over there. Like, yes, tutoring is a service-based business, but you also have to sell that you are selling an item, and that item is going to be your service and it's going to be your time, and you have to be able to sell it. And then one of the last traps that I see people fall into, and it's kind of unique, is not necessarily that teachers like don't know how to teach. That's not the issue. The issue is not selling that first session. We get into this a lot of conversations with our teachers. They're like, okay, I only want long-term clients. The thing is, a lot of people will only want to schedule one session with you to make sure it works and make sure it's a good match, because we are, as humans, we are not a good match for every single kid. We can be a match for a lot of kids, but not every single kid. And so what will happen is the teachers will treat it as an introductory session. And then what you have to do instead is completely flip how your brain is working. Instead, you go into that first session and be like, yeah, I'll have a one-off session with you. Great. You go in guns and blazing. You go in with binders made, everything prepped, whatever is going to be appropriate in that category for that child, and to be willing to go all out for the first session to be able to potentially have them commit for the long run. You really want to be focused on like pretty much sales, and that is a whole skill. That's something I'm still learning. I do not have a degree in business or anything like that, but kind of learning by fire of how to sell. And so that's kind of where I see teachers fall into traps. I want to be encouraging is that it is possible, but you really just have to treat like this is a business. You are there and this business is beautiful. And I've gotten so many like great stories of kids we've impacted, and just kids that I wouldn't have had the chance to meet, or my teachers wouldn't have had the chance to meet without the business in place. So it's a really impactful business, but there's business practices that always have to be in place. If there's something you're looking to learn, like I said, we cover everything from K through college, or if you are interested in learning a little bit more about test prep, please let us know in the comments below, and look forward to seeing you soon.